Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope I find you in the grace and in the power of God. Last week we started on a topic which says the fear of God. Last week we defined what is the fear of God and what are the characteristics of fearing God. Today we are going to be discussing and learning on what happens when men fear God. What are the blessings of fearing God and what are the implications of failing to fear God? Number one, what happens when men fear God? When a person fears God, their future will be secure. When a person fears God, their future will be secure. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, what does it say? For I know the thoughts, I know the plans that I have for you. Plans not to hurt you, not to harm you, but to give you an expected end. So it means when we submit ourselves to the fear of God, God will give us a good future. When we submit ourselves to the fear of God, what happens? We have an expected end. Our future will be secure. One young man in the Bible who had the fear of God and whose future was secure is the young man Joseph. Joseph so much feared God that he refused any temptation. He refused to become a victim of circumstance. And by so doing that, he became the prime minister of Egypt. So it means when we don't submit to the circumstances around us, when we don't submit to sin, when we don't submit to anything that wants to deassociate us from God, our future will be secure. Our future will be secure. Number two, what happens when we fear God? When men fear God or when we fear God, our destinies will be secure. What do I mean that our destinies will be secure? In the book of Jeremiah chapter 6, the Bible talks about walking. The Bible talks about walking in the highways of God, not in the pathways and in the byways. So when man fears God, it means they stop living in the little things that deassociate them from God, and they will start chasing after the destiny which God has for them. So it means when a man has the fear of God, in whatever they do, they will seek out the preordained pathways which God has created. Brothers and sisters, I want to submit this to you, that everything about your life and your destiny, God has already made it. So when you submit yourself to the fear of God, you are then aligned to the preordained pathways which God has already made for you. Number three, what is the blessing of walking in the fear of God? When men walk in the fear of God, they will live a life which is full of impact and results. When men live in the fear of God, they will live a life which is full of impact and results. One man in the Bible whose life was full of results is the man Daniel. Daniel served 4 different kings in Babylon. Daniel served 4 different kings in Babylon. Daniel died when he was 140 years old, and in his lifetime he served 4 dynasties. Daniel saved Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel saved Nebuchadnezzar's son, who was Belshazzar. Daniel saved Darius, and Daniel saved Cyrus. Daniel saved in total 4 kings. So every king who came always needed Daniel, because he was a man who was 10 times better than everyone else. So it means when men fear God, they will be better than everyone else. They will have results in whatever they do, and their lives will be full of impact. Brothers and sisters, what happens when men fear God? How does the fear of God secure our future? When men fear God, God will put a hedge of protection around them. That is the first thing. John chapter 1 verse 1. God will put a hedge of protection around them. Number 2, when men fear God, they will provoke the blessings of God. When men fear God, they will provoke the blessings of God. If you want to be highly blessed, my brother, my sister, fear God. Fear God. Fear God and walk in His commandments, and you'll be blessed. Number 3, the fear of God gives access to the secrets of God. What did David say? He said, those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So it means when men fear God, they will stay in the shadow of His wings, and they will have the secrets of heaven. Brothers and sisters, what happens when men don't fear God? What happens when men don't fear God? Number 1, when men don't fear God, or when men fail to walk in the fear of God, they will become slaves to circumstances. When men fail to fear God, they will become slaves to circumstances. Adam failed to walk in the fear of God, and he was cast out of Eden because he was no longer the master of the animals. Adam was created to be the master, but when he sinned, he lost his authority. So it means when men fail to fear God, they will lose their authority and they will become slaves. Number 2, when men fail to walk in the fear of God, they will abort their destiny. When men fail to walk in the fear of God, they will abort their destiny. Look at the man in the book of Judges whose name was Samson. Samson failed to walk in the fear of God, and he died a horrible death. He died before his time because he submitted himself to the very things which God had not allowed. So when men fail to fear God, they will abort their destiny and they will live horrible lives. The final one, what happens when men fear? What happens when men fail to acknowledge God? When men fail to fear God, they will be cursed. When men fail to fear God, they will be cursed. Look at Judas Iscariot. He saw Jesus, even though he knew that he was innocent blood, even though he knew that he was the King of Kings, he still sold him. And what happened? He was cursed. He was cursed. So it means when men fail to fear God, they will be cursed. If you don't want to be cursed by God, if you don't want to be cursed by men, respect God. Not only respect God, but fear Him. What is fearing God? Is to worship God in spirit and in truth. Brothers and sisters, this day, I want you to make a choice to start walking in the fear of God. I want you to make a choice saying that from today, I will walk in the preordained pathways of God. That I will walk in the blessedness of God. And I will walk in the fear of God in everything that I do. God bless you.